I think what's really next is solidifying and performing at a higher level in my current two businesses. As a motivational speaker, I had a really good year this last year, but now I want to go to the next level. I want to do the things that are going to take me to that next level as a speaker. And same thing in network marketing. It's like going to the next level. I'm always on this constant journey of growth. How can I get better? How can I improve? Because my whole goal in those two businesses was how many lives can I impact? It's why
Right,
I
right.
didn't go into coaching. You're very limited. How many lives can I impact and how broad can I make that? And that's really the goal, because when I'm doing that, then I feel like I'm giving back. I'm providing that service and that value to help others.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Hero of the Hour podcast. Mark, in this episode, sits down with JJ Birden, a former NFL pro who has transformed his life into a powerful journey of motivation and resilience. JJ's story is nothing short of remarkable. He was the #1 high school wide receiver in Oregon, but despite his undeniable talent, he didn't receive a single D1 scholarship offer due to being considered too small at 5'9" and 133 pounds. However, JJ refused to accept the naysayers' limitations and set his sights on achieving the seemingly impossible. He believed in himself, and all he needed was a tiny opportunity, even if he had to create it himself. The result? A stellar 9-season career in the NFL, a feat that defied the odds for someone not the biggest, strongest, or most physical guy on the field. JJ shares his profound definition of a hero, someone who leads by example and sets the right pace. He delves into the significance of a positive mindset, emphasizing its role in achieving success in any endeavor, particularly in the world of business. JJ also offers invaluable insights on the importance of finding the right mentor, someone who can help you devise a plan and craft a strategy that can turn your wildest dreams into concrete achievements. So, without further ado, let's dive into this episode and enjoy the ride.
Thank you so much for joining my podcast, JJ.
Hey, Mark, thank you. It's exciting to be here and looking forward to sharing, giving a little value to the audience.
One of the things that we call it the Hero of the Hour podcast, because I have people on this podcast are either personal heroes to me or people that are heroes to other people. Who's a hero to you?
Oh, right away, it has to be my mom. I was raised by a single parent mom who, she dropped out of high school her junior year, and she raised 3 children, and she just figured it out. And I watched her make sacrifices and work hard day and night to provide for us. But she was the first person that really taught me taught me the concept of you do what you got to do to take care of your family. So it would definitely be my mom.
I always said the cover. It's an open definition. If somebody said, "What is a hero?" Who would you tell? What would you say a hero is? Who is a hero? What is a hero?
I think to me, a hero is always someone who's out there taking the lead, who's out there leading by example. They're doing good things. They're setting the right example, the right pace, but they're doing it too, which makes it so much easier or more impactful, because you see, man, that person is out there doing it right. I want to follow their example.
It's one of the things I think anybody that follows football knows, that you were you went from let's call it an underdog to an alpha dog, in terms of, there's a handful of exceptions, but there are not too many. If I read the statistics right, you were 5'10", 157 pounds, and you had a 9-year NFL career. How do you do that?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you, Mark, it was never planned. It wasn't part of the plan. It's just a series of activities happened in college. And I was a track athlete, headed to the Olympic trials. And I tore up my ACL ligament when I was drafted by the Browns. And once that doorway opened, I started believing, hey, I can play at the NFL level. I get healthy and I make the commitment. But what really got me excited, but like you said, is, the average NFL player is 6'2", 245 pounds, and everyone's looking at me and saying, what are you doing here? And then all of a sudden there's that motivation to prove people wrong. So that was driving me at first, but I never thought I'd end up playing 9 years though.
it's we go back, you said your mom being a hero. It sounds like she she raised you right. It's so many people want things, but they're not willing to do the work necessary to go make that happen. But I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm an NFL registered player financial advisor. So it's a small part of our business, but we probably have 40 or 50 athletes that we represent, current and former NFL players and people in other sports and entertainment as well. But it's I got to tell you, with non-guaranteed contracts in the NFL and always a younger group of people coming behind you, to have a 9-year NFL career is like it's like having a 100-year career in business. Yeah. What is the average NFL career?
It's now dropped down to less than 2 years. So wow. I always tell people, making it to the NFL is hard. Staying there is even harder.
Yeah, because there's somebody younger, there's somebody faster, there's somebody who work for less, there's somebody, the salary cap doesn't help veterans to stay there. And so you gotta be. But I remember your career more at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And you got a chance to play with Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Who some consider the GOAT. I don't know. There's an argument. There's 3 or 4 people in that conversation, at least at quarterback. What was it like playing with Joe and playing with some of the other folks you got to play with?
Yeah, playing with Joe was a highlight. It was a bit of a shock first because I remember watching Joe when I was in the 8th grade throwing touchdown passes. And then I look up and I'm like, that's Joe Montana. He's in the huddle with me, But I like to think of myself as a student, and I know that success leaves clues. So I'm like, what can I learn from Joe Montana? And he was a consummate leader, professional. He led by example. Even late in his career, when he already won 4 Super Bowls, he came in to KC, and I like to say he studied like a rookie, he prepared like a veteran, and he led like a pro, and he really made a difference in my career and our team ultimately.
The thing that representing a bunch of players over the years, it takes so much effort and energy just to make it to the league, and then, as you said, to stay in the league is even harder than that. And then you get to be 25, 28, 32, 35, Tom Brady's just a unicorn, in terms of 45 years old, but you get to be in your late 20s or in your early 30s. And so few people are prepared to be as successful after football than they were on the field. And one of the things that's so amazing and so impressive about you is, it's sexy to talk about this incredible 9-year career you had in the NFL and all the awards and all the success you had. But I make the argument that you've been more successful off the field than you were on the field, which if that's possible, how did you go from, how did you end your career? So you knew it was your last day. Did you prepare? Were you preparing for years before, or did you go, hey, I'm retiring and now I got to start working on it? How did you get from there to where you are now?
Yeah, good question. First, I think the reality of making it to the NFL was like, okay, this is cool. How many years can I play? And when I learned, Mark, that you're a vested player at 4 years, that was the goal. Let's make it to 4 years, qualify for retirement. Then it was like, hey, let's see if we can play another year. But during that time around year 4 and 5, I was planning for life after the game. And I started networking. I started making some really good connections because I wanted to make that transition. And I have to admit, I made it a goal. I don't want to be one of those players you hear about who struggle when the career's over. And so that last year in Atlanta, my 9th year, I remember I had hurt my knee. Ooh. And after I went through rehab, I thought, when I'm healthy, I got to play 9 years, I don't really have to play anymore. Let's start phase 2. And I walked away from the game. And it's one of the things I'm proud of because, as you probably know, a lot of guys don't know when to walk away because it's like their life. It's their identity. And I didn't consider the NFL to be really my identity.
Actually, I remember when I was a kid with, Willie Mays was my hero. And I was a Met fan back in the day when I was a kid. And, to watch his last year in New York was, it certainly wasn't the Willie that, we were used to seeing. I think, so many people stay too long at the party. And I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage. I know you do a lot of things. I know that you're a motivational speaker. I know that you're one of the most powerful people in network marketing. How would people? You think? Let's start with that. I'd love to know. Tell me some of the topics. If somebody was going to hire you to lecture and to motivate their team, what are some of the things? What are some of the topics and things you like to discuss with people?
Yeah, my number one keynote right now is called Seizing Your Opportunities. It's a very generic presentation that allows me to help anyone in the audience understand what it takes to seize the opportunities that are important to you, whatever it is, family life, personal life, business life. But I take them through this process of what I had to go through, what were the action steps I took to make it to the NFL, and then try to relate it to the audiences. Because one thing I learned through my journey is, like you said earlier, we might have goals and dreams, but nobody's going to give it to you. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to be consistent, and you got to be willing to be persistent. So a lot of the content that I share when I'm speaking to corporations is always about the individual in the chair, what you need to do to achieve those goals, because ultimately your efforts is going to make the team, going to make the company better. So I love that presentation. I'm working on a new one now. I'm rebranding and doing a new presentation revolving around being the underdog, like you mentioned earlier, because that's pretty much my story. But I think a lot of people at times feel like an underdog, and I want to empower them to, like you said, become an alpha dog.
I think that's inspiring, and I know you're in demand, so that's there. Network marketing, to me, that's like owning a franchise or a store without a physical location, where you help it. It empowers the entrepreneur in all of us. But I think a lot of people either misunderstand network marketing or don't know about it. Tell us a little about that business. I'm obviously my fiance, Lisa DeMeo, she is she's another alpha dog in network marketing like you. Tell me about that part of your business.
Yeah, network marketing was really not part of the game plan. Initially, I was owner of several different medical companies in Kansas City after my career. And although I loved helping people, I didn't like some of the challenges that came with those businesses. And I didn't have the time and the freedom, and I was overworked and underpaid. And when I looked at the model of network marketing, it resonated with me because I understood the concept of passive income or residual income. Because as a football player, every year I would get a check because I was being placed on Madden, video games every single year. So I understood the concept, but it's something I gravitated to, and I love it because I have more control on who I work with, when I work, and even my income potential too. But what I love the most is the business model is all about helping other people. How many people can you help achieve the goals that are important to them, and your goals fall in and naturally fall into place? And that's one of the things I love about that business model.
Who should consider network marketing? Who is a lot of people are I think there's going to be a lot of people in the coming months going to be thrown out of work. I think a lot of business have gotten a lot more competitive and a lot tougher. Inflation is eating away at people's money. Who are people that should be interested or considering network marketing that may not be right now?
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Right now there's been a lot of changes out there, and obviously still some consequences of COVID. But it's anyone who's looking to have more control. Maybe they've got wants and needs. Maybe they want to work from home. Maybe they want to have more time and freedom. Maybe they want to be able to be their own boss. I really think it's an opportunity for everyone. But what I tell everyone is, you need to understand, it's called network marketing. It's a business. It's not called net sign up and do nothing, thinks it grows on its own. No, you have to be willing to do the work. And if you're willing to do that, obviously some pretty special things can take place.
That is terrific. The other thing I go back to all the time is, obviously you had world-class speed, but the average, you told us the average player weighed 245 pounds. You're at 157.
Mm-hmm.
You must have mental capabilities, mental fitness, emotional fitness, more than any man on the planet to do that for 9 years and to play at that level. How much does that play into your life then? How much does that play into your life now? The emotional fitness, the mental powers that you had.
Yeah. mental powers, mindset. That's 100% of it. That is 100% of it. Because even during my journey, like I mentioned earlier, many people said I couldn't do it. They doubted me. They didn't give me the chance, but I believed in myself. And having a strong mindset was really key to my success, because sometimes we can suffer with self-limiting beliefs, fear, and making up excuses. But I knew I could play. And that was the key when I got to the NFL. However, one thing I realized when you get to the NFL is that everybody's a great athlete. Everybody's a great athlete. So you have to have that mentality of every day, how can I be better than I was the day before? And that's really all about mindset. So, and even it's played a role in my businesses today. It's one of the points I talk about in my keynotes, is that what you think, how you think, when you think it, it truly matters when it comes to success in anything.
So many businesses are challenged. I know you speak and you lead and you motivate. What do you think some of the problems that businesses are having and people are having in business, and that where they lean on you to help them at least sort through and solve some of those problems?
Yeah, I think the main thing, and I really like to focus on the individual, because there's a lot of things that are happening in the world that are affecting business, but there's only so many things we can control, and so I try to help the individual to focus on what they can control. And they can control how they show up and the effort that they put in every day to do their job. And that's kind of one of the messages I preach, because I think too many people allow those outside circumstances dictate their efforts from day to day. And so I try to help them. If you can focus on what you need to do, again, right mindset, understand why you're doing it, having that plan, putting in the work, and understand, and I call these, Mark, FASCO moments. There's going to be failures, adversities, setbacks, challenges, and obstacles. Those are opportunities for growth. And so it's looking at adversity as in terms of, what can I learn from it? How can I get better? And how can I take advantage of the opportunity? So I love the empower the individual, because that's what I had to do. That's how I was able to play and make it in the NFL and last as long as I did.
So it sounds like, in addition to mindset, what you coach and teach on is building teams, building peak performance teams.
Yeah. And I do. But what I do is I focus on, I say, the way you can be a successful team if everybody does their job. Because in the NFL, there's 11 guys on the field. I could show up and do my best, but if those other guys don't do their job, we don't succeed. So if I can help each team member understand the significant the role they play to the success of the overall team, now you got a company moving in the right direction. So,
which is just incredibly interesting. Did you were there other sports you played? Did you play just football growing up, or you played and you ran track? Did you do everything?
Yeah, I was a 3-sport athlete early on, and then my sophomore year I focused on track and football, because I knew basketball, that wasn't the sport, so track was really my sport. I was like I said, I qualified for the 1988 Olympic trials in the long jump. So that was really what I was striving for. I was trying to make the Olympic team. I wasn't trying to play in the NFL, but the Browns drafted me late, 8th round, 216th pick. I was a mystery track guy who could catch the ball. That's really what it was. And but I tore my ACL ligament up in the third practice with the Browns. So track was over, and that's when the shift took place. But again, it's why I talk about the setbacks and adversity, because it's all about how you respond to them. And that setback was a perfect opportunity for a comeback. It made me hungrier. It made me focus, and everything I did there was instrumental to me, going on to play in the league.
That's you talk about ACLs, and again, I played. My career ended at the end of high school. In basketball, but I was, the interesting thing is, I don't remember, and maybe we just called it something different, but it didn't seem like there was that many ACL injuries. It seems like every kid has an ACL injury, much less every professional athlete. Was that always the case, or is there something different going on?
Yeah, it was always the case. But see, back right before I played, when a player had an ACL injury, their career was over. And then when late 80s, early 90s, then the rehab was about a year and a half. Now, like you said, ACL tears are happening, but guys are coming back a lot faster, which I don't think is the best recommendation. But for me, it was like, sometimes when you say blessings in disguise, because when I went into the NFL, Mark, I was like, there's no way I can play in the NFL. No way, no way. But that year sitting on IR, no pressure, just getting healthy and watching, that was when the mental shift took place. I was like, I can play in the NFL. I just got to get it healthy and seize the next opportunity I get.
That is totally inspiring. It sounds like you have a book or two in you.
Yeah. Actually, I've written one. This is my first one. When opportunity,
let everybody see that, because I want people to see that. Just tell me, it's when opportunity knocks. 8 surefire ways to advantage.
Take advantage. Yeah.
To take advantage. Yeah.
And this one is more about seizing your opportunities. It's kind of a blueprint of my first experience of being an author, and congratulations to you as an author as well. But working on the second one, like I said, we're going to move towards the underdog theme, because I don't know if you know this, but this is what's really cool. Through my research, I found out that in the last 40 plus years, there has not been an NFL player who played longer than me that weighed under 160 pounds. So we're doing some rebranding. We're really going to build off of that theme to really impact people out there who felt like an underdog.
That is, it's funny you think about that, but I'm trying to think, even a guy like Tyreek Hill, he weighs more than 160 pounds, right?
Yeah.
He's a big boy, right? Yeah, he's just not tall. He's shorter than you. But that is it's amazing that I guess when you think about it, those guys do not have any long careers.
Yeah. And think about how many people are in circumstances where, not just sports, even business, when they feel like the odds are against them, or maybe they're in a situation that doesn't favor them, or maybe they have some kind of limitation in some way. And so if I can show people how to close the underdog gap and really rise or come to the top as an underdog, that's kind of the direction we're moving with this new keynote and book.
And by the way, you also played in a time where they allowed headhunting on wide receivers. They not that it's certainly a violent game today, but it's certainly a lot safer than it was when you played. I mean, you going across the middle, you were taking your life in your own hands, right?
Yeah. Many times
that makes it even more impressive.
Thank you. Many times I got hit by Ronnie Lott and Steve Atwater and some of these big boys, but it was like everyone expected me to be afraid to go over the middle. So I was like, I'll show you. And I was willing to go over the middle. But I tell you one thing, through experience, you start learning how to get down and move here and there and avoid some of those hits. So they didn't get too many shots on me.
So you start with a single mom track, you get to the NFL for 9 years, you leave. You write a book. You're a motivational speaker. You become one of the most powerful people in network marketing. You've got medical companies, other things. If we got back together and you give me a time, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, where are you going now? What is next? Because I'm sure you're not satisfied. I think you're either growing or you're growing or not. Or you're declining. What's next for you?
I think what's really next is solidifying and, performing at a higher level in my current 2 businesses. As a motivational speaker, I had a really good year this last year, but now I want to go to the next level. I want to do the things that are going to take me to that next level as a speaker. And same thing in network marketing. It's like going to the next level. I'm always on this constant journey of growth. How can I get better? How can I improve? Because my whole goal in those 2 businesses was, how many lives can I impact? It's why I didn't go into coaching. You're very limited. How many lives can I impact, and how broad can I make that? And that's really the goal, because when I'm doing that, then I feel like I'm giving back. I'm providing that service and that value to help others.
I turned 60 this year. And so I hear people asking me, like, when I'm going to retire, and they'll go, retire to what? I'll go get a job. I mean, I think if you have that mindset, who retires from that? People ask you that question ever?
Oh yeah, they do. And I'm like, man, I'm just getting started,
Yeah, it pisses me off. Yeah. There's so few people, there's so many people like rushing to get through life. They're rushing to retire. They're running everywhere and running nowhere at the same time. And yeah, I mean, the thing that I think we have in common, I use different languaging than you, but I feel like a brother from another mother when I say I thought we'd be successful. I hope we'd make money, but this was really my vehicle to make other people's lives better.
Right.
And it sounds like that's been your sort of calling. I mean, I didn't hear you tell me about how all the millions you made or all the, the fancy car you drove or this and that. I heard you talk about making a difference in the lives of the people you touch is your why. Is that, do you think that if somebody's watching this podcast and they're saying, hey, I want to get to the next level, or I want to have a better life than I have, I want to create a bigger, better future for myself or my family. Right. Do you think that's what differentiates you or differentiates us from everybody else? Or is there something else? What could they take away saying, I got to talk to JJ because that's who I need to get me to the next level?
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to recognize the value of mentorship, the value of learning from someone who's already walked the road you're traveling on. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because even though I was raised by a single parent mom, there was always a coach, a teacher, someone who helped me along my journey. And so for anybody listening, I think it's important that you gravitate to people like us, because we're not just out there talking the talk, we're out there walking the walk. And when you find the right mentor who can really, help you create that plan and help you put that strategy together, mentor you through it, the sky's the limit, after that.
One of the passions that I have, and one of the reasons that I've we do work with athletes is, and again, it's not a major part of it. As I said, we may have 40 or 50 current and former players, but I've always said to them this. There was an article that came out about 20 years ago or so in Sports Illustrated that talked about that 81% of professional athletes were either bankrupt or in severe financial distress within 2 years of retirement. And when I see people not, having good values around money or around good values in general, I send them that article because I say I only work with the 19%. It's too painful to watch somebody blow up. And the other thing I think is that the other thing I try to work on with folks is that I can't help you be more successful in the field, on the field. Or if you're a singer, I can't help you, write songs or sing better. But I can help make sure that as an athlete, that you can have a career that's as or more successful after you, if you retire at 30, you probably have 50 years as a non-athlete or not as a professional athlete. Right. So how does that 50 years become the most successful part of your life or the most meaning? And by the way, you've had a pretty damn good life if you've been in the NFL, even for a week, much less 9 years. Mm-hmm. And so I think that part of that message is that to at least be thinking about that, or, so many folks are not thinking ahead at all. They're thinking just in the present, and to help them kind of figure out who their future self is. So not only they can be the best person they could be and be the best version of themselves, but at least be having at least a one eye about what life would look like after sports. Yeah. And I think that's universal to everybody. I think too many people are so focused on today mm-hmm. that they can't focus on who they really want to be tomorrow. Right. And that does not seem like it's a problem for you. And all I want to tell you is I just appreciate you taking the time from your busy day. I just want to say that I just think you have we talked about Tom Brady being the unicorn at 45. I think you're the unicorn. Now that I think about it, I think you playing 9 years at 157 pounds, it might be more impressive than Brady's career. And what you've done after the career is something that everybody should emulate. I want to send my 5 kids to spend some time with you and let you show them what life looks like, because I think they could learn a lot from you. And I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you too, Mark. I really appreciate just giving me the opportunity to share. And like you already mentioned, just passionate about helping everyone, paying it forward. Many people help me along my journey. And if I can help others, that's what gets me up every day,
Well, I think I'd like to help you because one, I'd like to help you, but I'm more excited about the help you're going to give to the other people that you touch. And you're living a life well lived and purposeful. And I just think everybody should emulate that. And JJ, thank you for your time.
Thank you too, Mark.
Thanks so much.
All right.
By the way, I get to Kansas City at least once or twice a year. Where's home for you now?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
We get there too. So I would, maybe on my next trip there, I can buy you dinner. We can have a drink.
That'd be great. I
Thanks.
appreciate that. All right, Mark.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.